Alright, a few things I forgot yesterday when I was filming and I was discussing red flags because I want to be honest. And there were a couple of other things that were alluring to me about this person. So let me go over the alluring aspects first. So, two things. One, this person inherently understood occupational therapy, so my own profession, without me having to explain it to him whatsoever. I am very used to explaining OT and what it's about to people. I have no issues doing that, but it was just very, very nice that this person inherently understood what I did for work, because honestly, not that many people do. I won't get into the specifics of how or why he understood it, but he did. And the second thing is he inherently understood bisexuality, although I do not believe this person is bisexual himself. So what I usually encounter with men and bisexuality, which I don't even like that term to describe myself, but it's just a quick and easy way, is that they always say like, oh, well, you know, if I could, I would play for both teams as well. It increases your chances, ha ha ha. And there was actually none of that. He actually really seemed to understand that it's a blessing but also a curse, because I think it's very widely misunderstood. And once again, I appreciated that I didn't have to explain the complexity to him. Okay, so this is actually really important. This is a red flag, and I want people to be able to have a take-home message, you know, as I do this filming. So I don't want you to have to wait until the very end to come up with all the things that I learned, okay? So he initially told me some very, very serious things about his life. And at the time, I just thought we were catching up since we hadn't seen each other since high school. I didn't look at this person like a stranger, and I just felt like he was filling me in on serious aspects about his life that had happened to him. And one of the things that struck me is, even though these particular aspects had happened years ago, even then I caught the energy, or I caught the feeling that for him it had almost just happened yesterday. Like there was no time in between. Even though these things had happened quite a while back, it was obvious to me that he really hadn't worked through them. Now, the other reason why I did not think this was anything unusual is because of what I did for work on a daily basis. So I saw very serious situations all the time, and people confided to me very intense things all the time. And so I was on that wavelength, and I was actually giving out my compassion and empathy like candy, not realizing it. And I was happy to extend that to him, my compassion and empathy. And I truly felt for what this person had gone through. Now, today, if someone approached me that I didn't know very well, because I did not know this person very well, and told me the same things, I would be a little bit suspicious, and I would be taken back. Because it's my belief that if you don't know a person very well, I don't think that you should reveal deeply traumatic things that have happened to you right off the bat. Of course, it's different if it's a friend of yours or someone you have known for a period of time, but that was not the case with us. And the other thing is, I did not return that. So in other words, I was not telling him very deep, dark things that had happened to me. I was more the recipient of listening to him via messaging. All right, here's another very important point. We messaged a lot up front, and there were reasons for that. One, because I thought we were going to meet up when I got to Philadelphia, and I thought we were just catching up via messaging, as a friend of mine said, almost as if we were pen pals, but of course it was much quicker via electronic communication. So we were messaging a lot back and forth, fairly regularly. And the one thing I would tell people is, if you are planning to meet up in person and you don't know this person very well, or you don't know them at all, I would curtail the messaging. I would not message a lot up front. That is one thing. I don't regret the situation happening, but one thing, if I could go back in time and change, I would curtail the messaging immediately, and I would have said, hey, let's just meet up in person and talk when I get to Philadelphia. At the time, the messaging for me and the communication with this person was actually a welcome relief to what I was going through. So I saw no need to stop it. I was going off of what I knew from this person in high school. And when in high school, though we had dated briefly, when he said he was going to do something, he did it. So there was never any issues in that manner. And it just kind of faded out, or so I thought, when we were in high school. So I was kind of going on what little I knew of him from many years ago. But there definitely has been a rise in parasocial relationships, so I'll do a little sidebar and talk about that briefly. I will talk about this in subsequent videos in more depth. But of course, with our global connections these days, you can be meeting people in different countries and messaging with them a lot, because of course you're not going to be able to see them right away. In this particular situation, since I was planning to meet up face to face with him, in retrospect, it would have been best just to cut all communication until we met up face to face and I was able to get a better sense of him. The reason why I recommend this, assuming that you want to meet up face to face, because that's not always the case, especially if there's distance or other factors that I won't get into here, because parasocial relationships versus face-to-face relationships can be quite complex. So I think that deserves its own time and space in a video. But the important point about this that I did not realize, because this had never happened to me, is that thoughts, feelings, and emotions can be transmitted right over electronic communication. What was happening was that I was bonding with this person and not realizing it, because we were connected so much via the internet, via messaging, via just sharing pictures, not sexy pictures, just basic pictures of everyday life. Like I remember one time, you know, he sent me a picture of the desk that he worked at for work and titled it Admin Hell, you know, and I sent something back in response. And, you know, it was just a nice way, I thought, of getting to know one another. But like I said, as the story progresses, you'll see that ultimately it was not the best idea to become so bonded up front. I didn't realize at the time how strong that bond would be for me and not for him.